So the last several days I've been really digging into my meditation time. One of my favorite things in the world to do is literally just go out to the pool, float around in my little floating hammock that I have, and I just choose one thought or one idea to meditate on. And one of the thoughts that I've been meditating on is, how do I blow the freaking roof off in my life and in my business? And it's really challenged me to take a couple things. One is my purpose. My purpose to help others. My purpose to essentially create a legacy that lives beyond me through impacting others' lives. And so that's one of the things that I've been meditating on. The other one is my potential, which is, what am I doing on a personal level to really push and stretch myself, to dig deeper and to go further? And so from these meditations, I ended up doing a full-on presentation for my Push Elite program. And it was kind of one of those things where I was like, this is a message for my clients, but this is also a message for the world that I wanted to pass on to you. So we took the call, split it into 2 parts so that you don't have to try to listen to 45 minutes all at once. So we're going to do a part 1 where we're going to talk about purpose, and a part 2 where we're going to talk about potential. And I really want you to just challenge yourself with this question that I've been challenging myself with, which is, how do I blow the freaking roof off? Like, instead of just, well, how do I do a little bit better? Or how do I make a few more sales? Or how do I grow my following? Like, I try to just completely remove anything specific like that. I've found that too many times in business, it's like, we just have this like specific thing based on one single metric in our business that is a good metric, but like, I want to challenge you to think outside the box. I want to challenge you to go beyond anything you've ever even thought possible, because it's when you go there that you find the true creativity. I believe personally that we have the creativity of our Creator living on the inside of us. It's an affirmation I do every morning. And I really want to challenge you to go to a place where there are no limits. I hope these episodes will encourage you and inspire you to go find that place in your life, in your business. Today, as you know, is week 1 of the month, which means we are digging into mindset today, okay? So I've got some things that I'm going to cover with you. No workbook today, because I just have a couple simple things that I want to go over with you from my heart to yours. Some things that I'm personally doing to take my mindset to a new level. I'm going to invite you to kind of essentially copy a few of the things that I'm doing. We're going to do breakout rooms at the end, because I want you to get in with somebody else and kind of chat about what it is you're going to be doing based on what I'm about to talk about, okay? So the first word that I really want to talk about, that I've been just meditating on for really the first, honestly, ever since Jessie passed away. Not sure if all of you know who she is, but she was a big time speaker in the network marketing world, had spoken at Eric Worre's programs a couple times. She passed away like 30 days ago, and it hit me hard because she's like, I don't know, my age-ish, maybe a little bit older. I hate to like assume someone's age. I'm 39. I think she was within 5 years of my age, and she passed away, and she's a badass. And it like really got me thinking, like, what am I doing with my life? Here is someone who made it really big in the network marketing world, made millions of dollars, but she didn't stop there. She took that millions of dollars and she reinvested it into putting herself on stage around the world, putting herself on podcasts. And I mean, like, she really took the whole like PR and what I call global branding to just like the next fucking level. I feel like she was, in a sense, like the Grant Cardone of network marketing. That's like how big she'd grown her brand. And so it got me like really, really, really just like self-evaluating and asking myself, like, am I really creating the impact and the difference and reaching for the stage and the difference, and am I like really going for it? Or have I gotten too comfortable? Have I gotten to a point where I know what I know and I'm really good at what I know, but I'm not like actually stretching myself to make like that next big leap? And I think for all of us, regardless of what level you're at, there's always a next big leap that scares you, that excites you, that challenges you, that forces you to learn some new things, that forces you to get uncomfortable. So the word that I really just want you to write down, and Feel free to do it in all caps if you really want to be happy, because that's how I do all of my notes. The word is legacy. And John Maxwell teaches this thing called the law of the legacy. And this is one of first lessons I learned from him. And it basically says when you die, you essentially get a little headstone, tombstone thing with one sentence. And your entire life on this earth will be summed up in one sentence for the rest of the world to see. That's all you get. Now, hopefully this is my goal with my life, is to make big enough of an impact that I don't just get the one sentence. I also get some type of a Wikipedia page and books that people are still reading and things like that. But like, the reality is nothing is promised other than that one sentence. And he said, if you know that you only get one sentence, wouldn't you want to choose it now and live your life in such a way that that is the sentence that people choose for you because you lived that out? Does that make sense? I don't want anyone to be like, here lies Josh. He was a really kind and nice person. So I sat down. One of my very first assignments when I set up with John Maxwell was wrote out. Essentially, I mean, I've just always called it a mission statement, but I don't know why I've never called it a legacy statement, because that makes more sense to legacy. Like, this is a legacy statement. And at the very beginning, mine just simply said, I want to equip and empower people to live out their legacy. And that kind of became like my mantra, is like living out your legacy. Your legacy is usually thought of as what you leave behind. But what Maxwell was kind of like challenging me with was, don't wait till you have to leave it behind. Live today thinking about what you want to leave behind. Make that your life mission and purpose, to live every single day in alignment with what you want left when you're gone. And so, again, my original legacy statement was, I want to equip and empower others to live out their legacy. Like, now that I have this knowledge, I just want to go help other people to get this knowledge and then live their life based on this thing. And that was why my official business name to this day is Legacy Leadership. Everything that I do, I want it to be about the life I'm trying to leave behind for others. And I've just been meditating on that like crazy. And these two words have always hit me, but the last couple of days have hit me really hard. And this is what I really, really, really want to dig into today. This is what we're going to have our breakout rooms around today. These two words that I believe kind of like, it's almost like legacy is like the headline today. And I want to give you some bullet points for making sure you live up to that legacy. The first one is purpose. It's always your purpose. Like, what are you doing for other people? What are you doing to give? And the reality is, this is a room full of coaches and mentors. So it's not that I have to teach you guys to have a purpose. You guys all know that. But the question is, are you extending and stretching and challenging yourself to take that purpose to the next level? I think so many times in business, it's really easy to get caught up in the numbers, to get caught up in, have this specific goal that I really need to hit. I have this amount of money that I want to save, or this amount of money I want to invest, or, maybe for some people, it's this amount of money to pay the bills. And if we're not careful, our business essentially just becomes the full-time job that gets paid in a different way. And it never actually becomes or stays the purpose by which we live our life. And to me, the beautiful thing about the kind of business that we all have is that it's like so many people looking for a purpose because their job sucks, so they need a purpose. For us, it was kind of like, I want to build a job around my purpose. And that's a beautiful thing if you remember the purpose. And I'm just going to be super honest with you guys. I'm fucking human too. This is hard, right? Because sometimes it's like, what if we ran these kind of ads? And what if we did this kind of a marketing? And what if it's just like, and all of that is needed. And I don't want to take away from that. I don't want to encourage anyone to burn down their profits, because I also believe that profits can lead to funding your purpose on a higher level. So I am not anti-profits. I am all down for the profits. But I want to challenge you to go a little bit deeper today and ask, what is the purpose you're driving? What are you really doing to make a difference in the world? And obviously, our job makes a difference, but I want to stretch you. I want to stretch you to go further. I had like a 1 hour meditation session in my pool yesterday where I literally just like took the word legacy and I just was like, let's just see where this word goes. And I'm just sending my team voice memos like crazy. One of those ideas was, you know what? We started this 21-day challenge thing because we wanted to open up the funnel and reach more people. But what if we took it further? What if instead of just opening up the funnel so that we can make a lot of sales the following month, what if the money actually did something positive and actually made a difference in the world, instead of just trying to make our ad spin back, instead of just trying to see if we can have a couple extra thousand of FU money or whatever the hell that is? Like, what if we actually take it a step further? That's what I love about floating around in the pool. I don't know if you guys have ever, like, this is a normal routine for me. Gravity's gone. I have this cool little pool hammock. It's got 2 cushions on each side with like netting in between. I might bring it to Arizona with me because I just love that thing so much. You lay back in it and you're weightless, but your body is like immersed in the water. It's essentially like a float tank, guys, except I keep my pool heated up to 90 degrees because I'm a diva. So it's essentially a float tank that feels more like a hot tub instead of freezing cold water. And so I'm so relaxed and my body just completely gives up. And honestly, sometimes I open my eyes and I forget that there's like sunlight. Like, I get so lost in this world of meditation that it's like, forget what being human even is. I'm just exploring thoughts and ideas and just seeing where it takes me. And so I think that like all of you should definitely spend more time doing something like that and just challenging yourself to just go outside of the box. Yes, my place in Arizona will have a pool. I do not rent Airbnbs without pools. It's against my religion. Especially if it's somewhere warm, right? So the first thing, and this is going to be a part of your breakout room today, is how do you take your purpose to the next level? You're welcome to join me in mine. If you don't have any super creative ideas, that's totally fine. But I think that some of you are creative enough, you can maybe do something yourself with your team. Like, hey, for every person we add to our boot camp or team or whatever, we're going to donate $5 to something. For some of you, your teams are very specifically niched to where you all have common beliefs. For me, my brand is a little more global, so I don't want to involve anything that could be politically charged, because the whole world is politically charged and tends to hate each other around their political charge. So for me, I'm kind of intentionally removing that and just saying, let's find people, not necessarily organizations. Doesn't mean we won't ever do an organization, but I really want to just like look for like individuals, you know? For you, maybe there's someone on your team or in your sphere that's going through something really big, and you just want to like send them some presents. I don't want to like throw out too many ideas because I don't want to like feed your idea. I want you to have the idea, but I know sometimes just like getting a couple ideas can help get your creativity going. But that's question 1, is how do you take your purpose to the next level? I've always believed this, that if you extend enough grace and goodwill towards others, it'll always find you. You're never going to go out and love on a whole bunch of people and be hurting in business. I just don't believe that. I mean, you know, unless you're just being lazy in your business, but that's totally different. That's not what we're talking about. I don't think that me donating money as it comes into a project is going to hurt our profit margins. I think it's going to do the exact opposite. Because I also think that people like to work with people that care about the good of the world. So I just believe this thing called law of sowing and reaping. It says you reap what you sow. If you sow good shit finds its way back to you. I don't need to measure how that happens. I don't need to know how that happens. I just trust that it does. Only Josh can take a Bible verse and add the word shit to it, but cool. Now, second thing is, number one was purpose. Number two is potential. Purpose is what we do for others. Potential is what we do to challenge our own personal performance. So what am I doing? And I want to be very careful about how I say this, because the goal here is not to get anyone to go work more hours. No extra hours are needed. Okay? The goal here is to challenge you to step up some things. This is what I've always taught around urgency, is that when you have an urgent goal, something really big, really scary, it creates focus. So step one to reaching your potential is focus. Am I focusing on the most important things that actually create growth, whether that's personal growth, whether that's spiritual growth, whether that is health growth, whether that is business growth? Am I focused on the most essential things it actually takes to move forward? Okay. It also breeds creativity. So having a big goal kind of forces you to ask, what are the things like I'm doing all the necessary things, I'm focusing in on these things, but it doesn't seem like they're quite enough to really get me over the top. So what are the new things I need to learn? Some of you might need to learn email marketing. Some of you might need to learn ads. Some of you might need to learn my webinar strategy that I'll be teaching next week on our marketing call. Some of you might need to really dig in and learn a new skill. Some of you might need to learn new skills that I don't really teach on, like blowing up your Instagram growth, something I don't give a fuck about. But if that's something you need, cool, dig in and learn that shit. Regardless of what it is, when you are focused on taking yourself to the next level, it has a way of exposing the current holes that you need to fill. That makes sense? Third thing is it demands ownership. It demands ownership. What is ownership? Ownership is where I'm willing to say it's all on me. If I'm not growing the way I should be, that's my fault. It's not Instagram's fault. It's not the algorithm's fault. It's not Brock's fault for telling me that he understands the algorithm when he really doesn't. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Sorry. He's my favorite. He's my favorite one to take cheap shots at. I should probably write him an apology email sometime and just be like, I'm sorry for all the times I've taken out my personal anger on you. I'm sure you mean well and are doing wonderful things and giving lots of money to charity. And I'm sure you're a wonderful person. If you love him, literally, it's just kind of like an ongoing joke that I have. It's nothing personal. I don't know him at all. But we have to take full responsibility. This was one of the other first lessons that John Maxwell taught me. He called it law of the lid. And what he said was, you will never be more successful than your ability to lead others. Now, lead, nothing wrong with that. Maybe that is something you need to learn, but I don't want you to look too much into that specific word per se, because this was a leadership book. So everything was kind of, catered to the word leadership. What I heard, I will never forget this. Some of you have heard me tell this 5 times. I apologize. When I read that statement, I went into a trance. And I literally saw my whole life flash before me, like in a movie when someone is about to die and they see their I literally saw my whole life flash before me. And I remembered all of the times in my life going to small churches where a pastor or a leader had said something like, our church can't grow because other people don't volunteer enough. Other people don't give enough. Other people don't show up on time. They don't care about it the way we do. I saw all the times me hanging out in local guitar shops, which I did a lot in my 20s. A local guitar owner would say, well, we just can't compete with Guitar Center because they're open later. We can't compete with Guitar Center because they let people turn their guitars up and blare them as loud as they want. We can't compete with Guitar Center because they're open on the weekends. The whole time I'm like, open on the weekend, dummy. Like, seems like you already know the solution. You just don't like the idea of the solution. Local coffee shop owners. Well, we just can't compete with Starbucks. It's not even coffee. It's just sugar, water, basically, and milkshakes. They have a drive-through. Again, I'm like, make some milkshakes if that's what people want. Who cares? Like, what does it matter? And glitter. Yeah, there you go. Glitter. They put glitter on coffee too. Damn, I ain't getting on that. Maybe that was for something else. But basically, my whole life flashed before me. And I realized that everyone that I had personally had access to in my life had always blamed their lack of success on someone else. And I made a promise to God on that day that I would never, ever, ever in my life blame anyone else in the world for my lack of success. That I would take full ownership for it. There's a book out there, really, really, really good. A little vulgar, FYI, but I love it. It's called Extreme Ownership by an ex-Navy SEAL. His name is Jocko something. I always forget his last name. But one of the things that he talks about is like, thank you, Jocko Willink. One of the things he talks about is that like, if you're the leader, it doesn't matter if it was your fault or wasn't your fault, it's still your fault. And one of the things that he would say like in the military is like, well, if this guy fucked up, it's either my fault because I'm the one who brought him on and I brought on the wrong person, or I didn't train him well enough. But either way, it's my fault. So there's always a lesson to be learned that I need to take ownership for. Now, really big difference between ownership and self-shaming. Really big difference. Self-shaming is, oh my God, I'm the worst leader ever. I can't believe I did that. Ownership is, man, I kind of fucked that up. What can I learn from this so that I can get better? And how do I move forward and make sure that like I become better, my systems, my processes become better? I like to say that one of the reasons I had such quick success in comparison to everyone else on the John Maxwell team was because of my willingness to fuck it up. Everyone else sat around asking questions. I did ask questions, but I usually went and fucked something up first and then came back with a question. And I can always tell in my training groups who's taking action and who's not by the kind of questions they ask. Because people who are taking action have new questions. And sure, sometimes they're stupid. Guess what? All questions sound stupid to someone who's further down the road. But the reality is one person will ask the same question in a different way, like in a way that lets you know, oh, this person didn't actually do that. They're just looking for a new angle on how to avoid it, basically. They're waiting till they have it all perfect to take any action. This person over here came back with a question that tells me this thing got done and now they've run into the new obstacle. I love that. And so ownership is about being willing to essentially fail forward. Another John Maxwell book. We just got John Maxwell quotes going left and right today, guys. Being willing to fail your way forward. Okay? So, trying to also tell you guys what I'm doing personally around these things, because I just think it's good of a leader to share for the sake of his own accountability, but also to give you creative ideas. I'm putting myself on a personal, haven't done this in a while, love it, tracker challenge. Now, here's my tracker challenge. My tracker is a little bit different than your guys's, but I very intentionally make it up around things that challenge me. And I'm doing a 4-day tracker challenge. So for me personally, Fridays, I'm not going to try to knock out a tracker, I should say. On Fridays, I have other things that I do. 1, to kind of just catch up on creative projects. 2, check out and make sure I kind of like get my brain space and my energy space right to be with my family for the weekend. I do work Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings for like 1 hour just to check in, get a couple things done, get business out of my brain so that I can just go enjoy the day. But for me personally, Monday through Thursday, I will be filling out a tracker that I'm going to be sharing with my team. Now, if I do the tracker, I get to invest $100. Now, again, I'm just giving you guys ideas. I'm not saying anyone has to do this exact thing. For you, it might be $5. Okay? Doesn't matter. Okay? If I don't do the tracker, I got to pay $100. Now, I haven't decided yet where that money is going to. All I know for sure, I literally just came up with some of this stuff in the pool this morning. All I know is it's got to go somewhere where like I don't get any benefits from it. My family doesn't get any benefits from it. Because the reality is, if it was just going to like go to my kids, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. I like to give money to my kids anyways, right? So what I might do is put it in some type of a pot and then like split it amongst my team. Like my team gets to basically split whatever money, Josh, which I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, there won't be any money. That's why I put myself on challenges like this. Because when there is something to win or lose, I'm going to fucking win. Now I might have some random day that for whatever reason I can't do it and I got to pay $100, but like it's pretty rare once I put like, so this is what I'm doing the rest of the year. I feel like this is like the perfect time. It's the beginning of October. We are in the fourth quarter. For those of you that enjoy my sports background and analogies, fourth quarter is where we either show up and win it or we cop out and we lose. The reality is, this is the way I look at it. If I leave it all on the floor, there is no win or lose. Like that is the win, is that I left it all on the floor. That I challenged myself. Sometimes, rock chalk, baby, that's right. Sometimes the team on the other side is bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, and on your very best day and their very worst day, you wouldn't have won. But at least you found out what you were capable of. And I'll never forget in 2015, one of my very first one-on-one clients, her name was Brittany Powers, and she was ranked 35 in the company when she hired me. She was a 2-star. We helped her go 6-star in the first 6 weeks, and then she decided to push for top 10. End of November comes around and she's like, I think like 11, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but the difference between her and the girl at number 10 was like a whole world full of difference. Like sometimes when you get those top 10 numbers, the difference between 4 and 5 is like 2 months worth of work. I mean, it can get crazy up there. And she said, Josh, I'm emotionally preparing myself for this not to happen. And I was like, okay. What kind of energy and action do you think you're going to show up for when you're preparing yourself to lose? I said, Brittany, if you give everything you have this month and we wake up on January 1 and you didn't hit your goal, I will be proud of you for the rest of your life. But if you don't at least give your best and you wake up on January 1 and realize you could have hit number 10, you will have to live with that regret for the rest of your life. And that was the day she said, fuck it, let's go for it. And you know what happened? She woke up January 1 and Brittany Leggett, who had been number 10, decided she was so far ahead, she took the month of December off. And we barely snuck right past her. And Brittany Powers had the happiest January she's ever had in her whole fucking life. And unfortunately, Brittany Leggett had the worst January she's ever had in her whole fucking life. And I don't say that in any way to like, I'm not cheering for Brittany Leggett's sadness or anything like that. I'm just saying what it is. And that was a huge fucking lesson. It's one of the reasons I love coaching people, is because sometimes the advice that I have for somebody else is the advice that I need to sneak in my back pocket and give to myself at a later moment when I'm facing kind of the same thing. And so for me, fourth quarter, let's go. Let's go. Now, to be clear, I will mark my calendar with certain holidays If it's Christmas Day, that is not going to count in my challenge. Christmas Eve will not count in my challenge. Thanksgiving Day will not. There will be very intentional days that I take off to be with my family and to enjoy. I think that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, is we get to have holidays. But the curse of an entrepreneur, as you know from maybe your own journey, definitely from the shit you hear from your downline, sometimes we accidentally think Christmas is like a 2-month holiday. You're like, what? Like when people are like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, it's the holiday season. I'm like, it's not a fucking season, guys. It's a couple days. Like when I worked a full-time job, we didn't take off November and December. We took off Thanksgiving, which actually I worked because I didn't have paid time off. Black Friday, maybe. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. That's like a total of 6 days out of like 3 months. Love Halloween, but don't usually celebrate it until like 5 o'clock at night. It's not like lots of people go to work on Halloween and then still celebrate, right? So I love to just intentionally give myself a challenge to like step the fuck up, because I truly believe that January is always the harvest time for what you do in October, November, December. So for me, it's like, honestly, sometimes October, November are kind of lull months as far as actual sales and profit goes. Cool. That means I got that much more time to create content and get my voice out into the world and build up hype and momentum so that in January, when everyone in the world wants to buy something, I'm already on their mind. Biggest mistake we can make is, well, sales are down, so I don't know why I should really do much. January comes around and I can promise you, you are not the person they are thinking about. And guys, that's a part of business strategy. 2015, my very first full-time year, I made a goal to go 400,000 in my first full-time year. And I was like, that's fucking crap. Can't even believe I'm writing this number, 400,000 in a year. That's like more than everyone in my family makes in like 3 or 4 years. Like, what am I even trying to do? But hey, I was listening to 10X Rule and Grant said to do it, and Josh does what he's told. So I went for it. And this is where my whole urgency teaching comes on, where it breeds creativity and makes you find new things. I decided to learn Facebook ads that year. I said, like, I don't know how to get to 400,000, but every single time I scroll down on Facebook, Instagram wasn't like as big back then. I was like, every single time I just go onto Facebook, there's a Chalene Johnson or a Lewis Howes ad. And while I'm scrolling, their ad will literally go away and refresh with a new one that's still them. I'm like, what are these people doing? And so I made it my goal. This was kind of like I like to do like a measurable goal and then like an intangible goal. The intangible goal was, I want my name and face to show up as often as Lewis and Chalene. And once I learned ads, which was the way I finally figured out how to get my name and face to do that, I said, let's just go fucking crazy. And when I say fucking crazy, I don't mean that I spent like crazy, because that first year I didn't. I just said, let's learn it like crazy and let's take action like crazy. And by the end of the year, we had hit $400,000. Literally within minutes of Raina Odell, who was one of my one-on-one clients that year, hitting her goal of getting like 33 PSSC or something crazy like that. And then Josh, for his reward to the team, had to dress up. It's still on Facebook somewhere if you go look for it. Josh had to dress up like, who's the 80s workout guys sweating to the oldies? What's his name? Someone knows. Richard Simmons? That it? So I went on Amazon and ordered a Richard Simmons costume, and I had to dress up like him and go live, and we invited the whole public, so not just our team, anyone could come watch. And I basically danced around. I don't remember. I know what I did. That was the year Size came out. I did a Size routine with Shaun T dressed like Richard Simmons live for everyone to see on Facebook. That shit was funny. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something like that for you guys just for fun. Anyways, that's what creativity can do. This is what I was doing for myself. It's also what I was doing for my clients. It's like, what's creative? What will get people motivated? What will get people excited? What will get people like, it's just like, if we want to hit crazy goals, we have to be willing to think differently. And that was one of the things that I did in my meditation time today in the pool. I just said, what is something, like when I first started this, guys, nobody else was doing online courses that I knew of. I mean, I'm sure it existed, but I didn't know about it. I just made it up. It's like, I don't know, I guess I need to have a group course because my one-on-ones are sold out. And I don't know, I guess I'll just put together some of this shit that I'm doing. And I don't know, these Beachbody coaches are running Facebook groups. And I don't know, I'll just try that and we'll just like do a weekly call. I just made it all up.